Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Okay, this is
now.
roadrunner.com. Lots going on today in the silver world. We got the Fed meeting coming up at the end of the week. That is all, much ado about nothing. The only thing that matters as far as price is COMEX, the futures and options trading controlled by a handful of traders. It's a joke. It's ridiculous, but it's the world we live in. If you are a silver investor, a physical silver investor, not through an ETF, through your own investing of metal and getting it into your own possession, this is the greatest thing in the world. They are lying about the value of silver, the price of silver, and today I'm going to show you a hit piece created out of thin air by Metals Focus, which is the number one leading silver market analyst. And it is so obvious, but what it also did is opened another door showing just exactly how much silver is going into solar and how far off Metals Focus is. So walk with me down this little road. We're above $30, which is great. Some people saying 32 is the next jump to get over. It's all ridiculous. Silver should be in the thousands by now anyway. If you've been in this world long enough, in the silver world, in the Roto side, it's obvious that silver is going into the multiple thousands. Silver gold ratio, I expect it, in the extreme, will cross 1-to-1, meaning 1 ounce of silver will buy you 1 ounce of gold and vice versa. It could even overlap that. Why? Because silver is so much more important than gold, and there's massive amounts of gold out there that you don't hear about. I think the official numbers are around 6 to 7 billion ounces of each on the planet that might come into the market. That screams 1-to-1 ratio right there, but it's coming out of the ground at 7-to-1. The problem is all 7 of silver is going into industrial, all of it, 100% of it. No matter what the Silver Institute and Metals Focus tells you, I'm going to show you why right here. All right. First of all, yes, the game's being played by the riggers, JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, HSBC. There's a handful of them. They play these moving averages. They have been since the early 70s. This is how you control prices on anything and everything, even cryptos. It's all done with futures and options and derivatives. Most crypto exchanges are derivatives anyway, so they don't really need the formal derivatives, but they do have those as well. The head of the CFTC, Christian Carlo, came out and said, we had to control the Bitcoin price, so we introduced Bitcoin derivatives into the market. That's the head of the regulators saying that's how you control prices. And it's true with everything, even on the stock market, the bond market. You got to be in the know to know which way they're going to push it. But currently we're above all the moving averages, so the bankers are shorting. The bankers are shorting right now. The higher silver goes, the more they'll short. Ultimately, it is the Achilles heels of the bankers because with longs, you can lose 100% of your long. With a short, you can lose 100% of 100%. You have infinity losses. For example, if silver goes to $1,000 an ounce, every single bank that is short, naked short silver, which is most of them, I don't think JP Morgan is, although they rely too much on their lease contracts. They think they own that silver when, in fact, the banks that do have that silver are not going to be able to pay back, especially at $1,000 silver, and voila, all of a sudden their hedge is gone. They aren't hedging anything if the person at the other end can't pay up. And that's where you get the risk of a derivative meltdown, a $3 quadrillion derivative meltdown. Ultimately, that will happen. But here's what I want to talk about today. This article just absolutely pissed me off because it was a lie from Metals Focus. They've been lying. I've been pointing everybody in the right direction. Go to roadtoruta.com, and at the very top is the solar information. The second one down, this is the Silver Institute supply and demand. Every one of those red boxes is a lie. They changed all the numbers to make it look like there's not a problem in physical silver, when in actuality there's a massive problem, especially on solar side. Photovoltaics are using literally hundreds of millions of ounces, and the Silver Institute says in 2023 they only consumed 193 million ounces. Everybody knew it was wrong. It's well over 300. From my numbers, it comes to 350. Just numbers from solar going up 76%. It's 387. That's million ounces. And that's how far the Silver Institute gets their numbers from Metals Focus. That's how far off they were last year. This year, it's even worse. So the Metals Focus guys, claiming to be the experts, put a hit piece up against solar silver, which is the hysterical and ridiculous. And oh, by the way, they pointed out something that is just going to be when people understand what's going on with the TOPCon silver and exactly how much silver goes in per watt, which I just found out from the source itself, you're going to be blown away. Because again, Metals Focus put the amount of silver used in solar panels last year at 193 million ounces. I was saying there's no way it could be under 300. Even the chairman of the board of the Silver Institute said it was going to be over 300. And they came out with 193. It's just basically a fabricated lie. It is illegal to purposely misinform investors. No, I don't think any case has ever been tried because people throw numbers. You can justify anything, truthfully. But we're searching for the facts here, and let's get down into it. Here's what they said. Despite emerging challenges, photovoltaic silver demand set to hit a new high in 2024. You might be saying, oh, that's great. Wow. And I'm like, the new high is massive. They're going to put in over 30% or 66%. Over 1/3 will be TOPCon panels, and they use about 40 to 50% more silver. And yes, they are thrifting, but not at the rates that these guys say. And this is all part of the hit piece. And this is definitely designed to keep you away from buying physical silver. Buy your physical silver today. Go to your local coin shop. Contact Andy Scheckman, info@milesfranklin.com, and get silver there. Wherever you can get physical, get it. Because very soon it will become unobtainium. You won't be able to get it at any price. And there'll be questions as to what is the price of silver when the COMEX shuts down. Anyway, last week, Metals Focus attended, and you have to read the language. This is Metals Focus writing this. Last week, Metals Focus attended the China Silver Voltaic Industry Chain Seminar in Wuxi. During this event, our research consultant, Elvis Chu, presented on the outlook for the silver market, including photovoltaic silver. It has been widely reported. Now, this is always bullshit when they say, according to experts, or it's been widely reported, or 5 inside people say. It has been widely reported the photovoltaic market has undergone substantial changes over the past decade, with the industry's expansion significantly boosting the demand for silver. As a reminder, in the Silver Survey 2024, prepared by Metals Focus, they reported 64% year-on-year surge in silver PV offtake to a record 193 million ounces. That is not true. That is a lie. They reported go to roadtoro.com right here, 38%, not 66%. Because they changed the 2022 number, it looked normal. It looked like a big jump, but it isn't. It's only 38%. So there's their first lie. I've gone on over that a million times. It's almost half. They're literally undercounting by almost half. However, with technological progress and market fluctuations, it's important to examine if this trend will continue or if new dynamics will emerge, laying out a different path for the sector. They're trying to set you up. It's a setup. They're going to say, here's this new technology that's going to take over. Following the dramatic surge in installed capacity over the last 2 years, which reached 444 gigawatt. I am shocked that they even say that, because it was a 76% growth from the year before, and yet they only showed a 35% growth. So it's shocking that they admit it, but you can't get away with it. The problem that Metals Focus and the Silver Institute are having with their lies is that in solar, there's regulatory requirements that they publish publicly, all the new solar, how many megawatts of solar are installed every year. So we know the growth of solar. All we got to do is figure out how many grams of silver per kilowatt or megawatt, or however you're analyzing it. So that's their problem. And that's why they have to go back and change numbers and hide and obfuscate and try to say this is too technological for you guys to understand what's going on. But we as Metal Focus, we know because we have our sources inside. Anyway, following the dramatic surge in installed capacity over the last 2 years, which reached 444 gigawatts last year against 128 gigawatts in 2021, the PV sector has achieved a substantial base level of demand. They can't say that because that'll get people wanting to get into silver. So, however, taking into account these several developments, including global cuts in solar energy bid prices, increased financing costs, fewer government subsidy projects, and diminishing investment returns, it is widely anticipated that the industry's expansion will start to moderate is bullshit. It is not widely anticipated. As a matter of fact, COP28 says it is widely anticipated that they will spend whatever it takes to save the planet. They are going to double, triple, quadruple by 2030, they said. 8x by 2030. I don't know who's widely anticipating it other than Metals Focus and the Silver Institute. Anyway, let me get to the guts of it. That said, H1 performance indicates that except for Europe, solar installations in other major markets, including China, India, U.S., Middle East, Africa, all increased, reflecting a positive solar trend. Duh. This year is going to go up at least to 600 gigawatts. That's a minimum. 600 gigawatts. We got a few months ago, Bloomberg NEF, which is kind of the industry expert, they called the 430 and then it hit the 444. They called it last year and nobody believed them. This year they're saying 592. 592, that's a minimum. We're already on pace to beat that. So just take 592 and divide it by 92 divided by 444 equals, that's 33 to 35% increase. That's massive. We don't have the silver for that. Last year they took massive amounts of silver. So what is Metals Focus going to do? Well, let's take a look. As a result, this quarter has experienced a slower than expected peak season, which in turn has introduced some uncertainty in trying to project demand for the latter half of the year. It's bullshit. They say this every year. I was screaming at them this time this year saying, oh my God, you guys, why are you downplaying the amount of silver used in solar? And they just, I literally talked to the head of Metals Focus and the head of the Silver Institute, and I said, what are you guys going to do? This is before they published their bullshit report in April. What are you guys going to do? I mean, solar's grown by 76%, and you're saying that silver is coming in at 35%. That's physically impossible. For instance, okay, let's keep going. As a result, the quarter's experienced slower than expected peak season, which in turn has introduced uncertainty. That's a lie. The somewhat cautious outlook for PV demand in the coming months has also intensified competition within the supply chain, which is already dealing with surplus capacity, resulting in weaker module prices. That's good for installations. Weaker prices means more people can afford to install, right? There you go. For instance, in China, Q3 23, the bid price, it talks about how the price has dropped. Yeah, I mean, solar panels are almost free, literally. But they got to keep making them because they got to save the world from solar global warming or whatever they're calling it these days. Okay, this means most panel and module manufacturers are now losing money. True. To help address these, companies are increasingly focusing on enhancing product efficiency and reducing costs. As part of the strategy, N-type solar cells, which covers TOPCon, HJT, known for their superior efficiency, have emerged as the market's dominant technology this year. Yes, I think it will be 66 to 70% will be TOPCon or HJT. Both of them use massive amounts of silver. The initial market perception is that with the increased popularity of N-type cells, the growth in silver consumption would exceed that of installations due to their higher silver loadings. That is absolutely true, but Metals Focus has to play that down because you can't have the amount of solar installs increasing at 35% and the amount of silver in those installs increase as well. They can't have that. All right. Contrary to these expectations, now here's where it gets into their experts. Our field research revealed that Chinese producers have made more progress in thrifting and substitution than previously expected. Oh my God. Since the beginning of the year, each quarter the industry has reduced the amount of silver paste that's applied to a panel to by roughly 4 to 5% compared to the previous quarter. What a freaking lie. They're saying that they're pulling out 20% of the silver in just this year. That's bullshit. It is such a... Nobody's said that. Not one industry has announced that. They have announced other things, and I'll get to that in a second. But here's where they're saying it came from. This has been achieved through a series of improvements, notably upgrading production processes to increase efficiencies and shrink the line by introducing laser-enhanced contact optimization, optimizing the deep structural design by transitioning super multi-bus bar to zero bus bar conductive lines, and introducing some silver-coated copper powder. As a result, we expect silver usage per watt to drop by 10 to 15% in 2024. Really? Oh, really now? And so with this cost-cutting roadmap in place, leading solar panel module producers have effectively reduced the proportion of silver as a share of the total module cost to less than 10%. Is that true? I don't know. Does it matter? Absolutely not. It's a lie. This, in turn, has helped cushion the effects of elevated and volatile silver prices. That's such bullshit. Additionally, to protect themselves against further gains in the silver price, these companies are looking to implement further cost reductions well into 2025. As the single largest application for silver in the industrial sector, accounting for more than 30% of global industrial offtake, it's more like 50 to 60%, by the way. PV has had a profound impact on the global supply chains. Despite the above headwinds, we still expect the sector to consume about 6,600 tons, 212 million ounces. Oh, my God. So the amount of solar is increasing by 35%, and yet the amount of silver used, and everybody agrees it's going mostly to TOPCon, which uses about 40 to 50% more silver. Everybody agrees with that. So it should be more silver. They're saying there's only going to be a 10% rise in the old bullshit number to this year. It's such bullshit. Crazy that these people get away with it. Anyway, so I'm happy they did it. I'm happy they did because it got me to dive into the new technology, the new way to put silver paste down, and it brought me to the number one paste manufacturer in the world by far, Solamet. And Solamet, literally, just a couple days ago, published an article in PV Tech saying prospects for metallization paste technology in the passive conduct era. And it goes through the technology he was talking about and how it is changing. Absolutely. Not the 5% per quarter that he claimed. But listen to this. In 2024, the market share for N-type technology surpassed that for P-type technology for the first time. That's TOPCon. With PERC cells quickly exiting the stage, N-TOPCon cells have emerged as the mainstream technology with HJT, IBC, and Perskovite silicon tandem cells forming a diversified competitive landscape of passivated contact cell technology. So it goes through how TOPCon is the main thing. And they are absolutely... Here it is. In 2023, laser-enhanced contact optimization technology achieved large-scale production for TOPCon. So this is what they're saying is dropping the amount of silver by massive amounts. In 2023, and mind you, the amount of silver used in solar panels varies by manufacturer and is absolutely one of the biggest kept secrets. Has always been. Because they don't want you to know how much silver they're using. They don't want anybody to know. No manufacturer wants people to know that they're at risk when silver prices go to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. But again, remember, silver's only 10% of the price. So silver can double, and with the modules so low, it won't matter. Anyway, so it goes through what they said, laser-enhanced contact optimization. It's better. Theoretically, it solved a lot of problems. It hasn't been fully implemented in all the TOPCon production lines, but it is coming, and it is happening. And so this is where it really hit me, because they've been saying that, or at least Metals Focus has been saying that TOPCon uses about 12 milligrams per watt of silver. I'm like, no, it's 20. It's been 20 for... Everybody is saying 20, and they're saying 12. So this, Solamet, the leading manufacturer of paste, the people who invented this shit, here's what they say. Another major challenge for TOPCon cell is the high silver consumption. Unlike the P-type PERC cell, which uses aluminum paste on the rear side, the TOPCon cell requires paste on both the front and side, but the front and rear sides, including both the bus bars and the finger lines. Using screen designed with thinner mesh and emulsions, as well as finer finger openings, has become the main approach to reduce silver consumption in TOPCon cells. The aluminum-free LECO-specific paste significantly improves gridline resistance, and LECO technology has also greatly enhanced silver-silicon omnic contact, both of which paved the road for fine line screen printing for TOPCon. That's great. They are doing it. But here's what this is the people who know. And if Metals Focus thinks they have someone more in the know than the person, the company that actually makes the paste to do this, please let us know, Metals Focus. As manufacturers successfully apply the learnings and experience of fine line screen printing techniques used in PERC cells to TOPCon cells, the silver paste consumption for 182 millimeter TOPCon cells, which is the standard, has reduced from over 140 milligrams per cell in the early stages of mass production to about 80. The early stages is the mid 19, I think they started doing this in 2020, 2012, 2013. So in 10 years, they cut it in half. Okay, but look what they say. Has reduced from over 140 milligrams per cell in the early stages of mass production to about 80 milligrams per cell, a reduction of 40%. There you go. We finally know from the horse's mouth how much silver is used per cell. 80 milligrams of silver on average per cell today. They were able to go from 100, they're bragging, 140 to 80. So we're at 80, which I've heard many times. Because if you do the math, it comes out to about 21 milligrams. So just so you guys know that even Metals Focus says that TOPCon, it's the green here, doubled is about 60%, 66%. So I went to ChatGPT. Here's what I did. I said, okay, how much silver is used in a TOPCon solar cell? This is ChatGPT. It has to be, right? It has to be right. To calculate how much silver is used in a single TOPCon cell, we divide the amount total silver used in the panel by the number of cells in the panel. Given data, the total silver in a TOPCon solar cell is 80 milligrams. Number of cells in the panel is 144 cells. This is a typical 182 TOPCon panel. Okay, that's your average panel, right? So you do the calculation. Silver cell equals 80 milligrams over 144 cells equals about 0.5556 milligrams per cell. This approximately 0.556 milligrams of silver is used in each TOPCon solar cell. Okay, now we know how much is used per cell. How many watts per cell? To calculate how many watts generated per cell in a 182 millimeter TOPCon solar panel, we need to divide the total wattage of the panel by the number of cells in the. This is not rocket science. I just wanted AI to do it. To calculate how many watts are generated by a single cell in a TOPCon 182 solar panel, we need to divide the total wattage of the panel by the number of cells in the panel. Total power of the panel, 540 watts. That's typical for one panel. Number of cells, 144. Calculation, watts per cell. 540 watts over 144 cells is 3.75 watts per cell. Thus, each cell in a TOPCon solar panel generates approximately 3.75 watts. And I said 80 divided by 3.75 because they said they're 80 per panel, and then you want 80 per cell and watts per cell, right? So the resultant is 21.33. So calculate how many ounces would be used in 400 gigawatts, which is the amount of TOPCon that's going to go in this year. At 66% of 600 is going in. So there's going to be 460 gigawatts of TOPCon roundabout, right? Roundabout. If each cell has 80 milligrams. To calculate how many ounces of silver would be used to produce 400 gigawatts of power, that's the TOPCon part. They're going to do 6. but it's 400 in TOPCon. Where each cell has 80 milligrams of silver, follow these steps. Convert 400 gigawatts to watts. That's 400 billion watts. Calculate how many watts produced per cell. Each cell produces 3.75 watts of power. Calculate the number of cells needed to produce 400 gigawatts is 106 billion. 4. Calculate the total amount of silver used in these cells. Total silver in milligrams times the cells is 8.5 trillion milligrams. Convert the milligrams to ounces. You have here, this is it. There are 28.348.5 milligrams in 1 ounce. So, total silver ounces. The 8533 divided by 28,349 gives you 300,967,762 ounces of silver. There you go. You want to know how many ounces of silver is going into just the TOPCon part? According to AI and anybody with half a brain. I did this actually by hand, and I came out to something similar. But it was too hard to explain how I did it. So I just did it on AI, so it just lays it all out. So it's 300 million ounces of just TOPCon, and that's just doing a third. Or, sorry, 2/3 of the total installations. 300 million. And don't forget what our friends over at Metals Focus are saying right here. They are saying, right here, despite the above headings, we still expect the sector to consume, this is the total PV sector, 212. So just the TOPCon is going to use, by definition, by everything that we are told, is going to use over 300 million, just the TOPCon. And then you add on the other 1/3. What do you get? 5 something? No, you get 4 something. 450 million? Look where they are. We expect 212 million. That is impossible to do. They are lying, cheating, and stealing. And this has been going on for at least 10 years, maybe 20 years. That the Silver Institute has been publishing fake numbers. Now they get their fake numbers from Metals Focus. Tell everybody, hey, just do the Chat GPT. If we're going to have 600 megawatts installed this year of solar panels, it's going to be well over 400 million ounces of silver used in those solar panels. So says the number one producer of the silver paste, Solamet. All right, are we there? Do we have to keep doing this over and over again? So should we buy silver? Absolutely. Because remember, if you look at even using their numbers, which are, again, all lies, even using their numbers, they're at, industrial demand is at 654 million ounces of the 1 billion ounces that's mined every year. I would say that number is low by about 350 million ounces. Not just solar, but the main thing is solar. You've got at least, they're about a half. So let's see, 100. So just using that, it'd be 800 million ounces. So there's nothing, literally, there's only 200 million ounces left for photography, jewelry, silverware, and investors of what was mined last year. What does it all mean, Bix? It means we're being lied to. It means the price of silver is massively undervalued. It means go get your physical silver. Get it in your own possession. Wait out the bullshit. It's got nothing to do with Thursday's announcement or Wednesday's announcement of what they're doing with interest rates. Nothing. They might use it as an excuse to either slam it or let it rise. Right now, my guess is that they use it to slam it because these are the big bank shorts. When it's above that, the big banks are short. So they're probably going to do something to try to slam the price of silver when the Fed announcement comes out. I don't know. It's all a lie. Buy your physical silver. Get it in your own possession. Yell about, hey, TOPCon's using up 300 million ounces of silver. So that means all of solar is using what? 450 million ounces of silver. which is almost 1/2 of the total available, which is, where is that? This is even according to the Silver Institute. Did I close it out? I might have. I get so tired of the Silver Institute. Anyway, I'll just go up here. I mean, mine production, I think we're there. If we do 820, 830 this year, they might bump it to 840 million ounces in mine production. I think that's where the industrial demand is. I think we're at industrial demand mining equilibrium. So 800 plus ounces mined, 800 plus ounces used in industrial. And hey, anybody who wants to fight this out with me and GPT, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. So yes, clearly the folks over at Metals Focus, this was an attempt to take you out of the silver investment. This is an attempt at them trying to make you downplay what's really happening in silver. Don't fall for it. Again, if you don't have physical silver, or if you want some more, go to your local coin shop. Those are the guys who are going to be, selling an ounce of silver to buy a dinner for 10 people to celebrate. When silver goes over 1,000, 2,000, people will be scratching their head. When silver and gold cross at 1-to-1, I don't know where it'll be, $20,000, $30,000. People will be scratching their head. How did this happen? We don't know how it happened. We do know how it happened. A handful of riggers, assisted by both the CFTC, the regulator, and the industry experts, the Silver Institute of Metals Focus, were able at least since the invention of the electronic comics in the mid-70s, were able to suppress the price of silver so you can't benefit from it. So you have to be stuck here at 60% of its 1980 all-time high, where gold is tripled. This is a game that's about to be won by silver stackers. If you have mining companies, you will lose. 100% chance. What country in the right mind would allow foreigners to control the value of, when their monetary system fails? You don't think Mexico is going to nationalize every single mine in Mexico? Of course, they're almost doing it already. They're already shutting down open pit mining. Why? Because they know the story. We've been screaming it a long time. Silver has been provided to the world by Mexico. They gave away their riches for hundreds of years, literally. And now it's Mexico's turn to say, screw you. We're not selling any silver. We're going to nationalize all. We're going to give it to our people. So you cannot invest in mining companies. I'm sorry. I started out looking at mining companies because it's the cheapest way to buy silver. But the risk is off the charts right now because we are looking at a failing monetary system. And when that happens, historically, it's always gone back to gold and silver in some form or function. No way the people of Mexico would allow this to go further after that. They will nationalize all mines in Mexico. Same with the United States. We would do it too. If the U.S. dollar, if all of a sudden the bank's shut and there's no way, nobody has any money, no retirement left, of course they're going to try to nationalize. But if we go back to the concept, because there's going to be no authority to do that in the U.S. Our government will be gone. So get your metal in your hands. If you don't have a local guy, contact Andy Scheckman, good friend of Road to Ruda's. We've been working with him forever. Send him an email, info@milesfranklin.com, and buy what he has in inventory, because who knows when this game's going to end. Anyway, that's what I got for you. The theme of this is that, hey, we're being lied to. Get your physical silver. Lots more on this on the private road at Road to Ruda. Go to roadtoruda.com. Click on subscribe today. It's a 1-year subscription. We're giving away currently one paper wallet loaded with 10 Theta, 100 T fuel, and 1,000 T drop. Theta is for the future. Theta is the future. You just take it, you stick it in, you're safe with your silver, and then you're all of a sudden into cryptos. Congratulations. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.